Right now, Sri Lanka has a very difficult choice to make. Either lock down and lose upwards of an estimated $2.22 billion if we go into a 6-week stretch until the 2nd of October, or lose 10,000 lives. This was one of the conclusions discussed during a webinar hosted by the World Health Organization yesterday, featuring some of Sri Lanka's best and brightest medical and COVID-19 experts. According to an economic projection model compiled by the Imperial College London, the hit to Sri Lanka's economy from a prolonging of the current curfew could be quite a heavy one. It says that Sri Lanka's GDP would see a 1.3% slide up to the original curfew deadline of the 30th of August, or in monetary terms, $1.12 billion. In case of a 4-week lockdown up to the 18th of September, this could increase to a 1.9% hit to the GDP, or $1.67 billion. Further, if a 6-week lockdown is imposed up to the 2nd of October, the country's economy would lose upwards of $2.2 billion. However, the move could end up saving up to 10,000 lives. Hence, the decision is a tough one for the government, as Sri Lanka right now stares down the barrel of a long drawn-out economic impact of the pandemic, with an increasing need for dollars, the need to keep the country's engine of growth running, and a tussle with the rampant Delta variant of COVID-19. Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva, however, says that human life is what must be given priority, and that the government has been left with a serious judgment call.
6-week lockdown, the cost would be about $2.2 billion. So if you work it backwards, what you are suggesting is about 40 million Sri Lankan rupees per person is the value of a life. So it is a judgment call that the government has to make. What they are looking at is, okay, the economy shuts down, production comes to not a screeching halt, because what lockdown here really means is not a complete lockdown. Factories work and others work, so there won't be a absolute halt of all economic activity. Even when the economy contracted by about 16% the second quarter of 2020, nothing really happened to agriculture, and there was a certain drop in manufacturing and services. So therefore, the economy always bounces back, because even though we haven't got the second quarter figures for 2021, I heard Minister Cabral saying they expect the second quarter figure to be real growth, to be over 10% over the previous quarter.
Meanwhile, Dr. De Silva added that the government should understand that recovering $2.2 billion in GDP is not such a tough task soon after lockdowns are lifted and production resumes.
If we continue this way without locking down, then assuming WHO knows its facts, that is estimated then at a loss of 10,000 lives. But the question then is, suppose you lock down, then we need to be able to find that additional 2.2 billion. I would think that this $2.2 billion can be quickly brought back into production once the lockdown is removed. Now, we heard today the president has decided to lock down for 7 more days. Now, I don't know how many lives would then be saved by locking it down for 1 week. Would it be 1/6 of the 10,000? I don't know. But still, by locking down, he's going to save a certain number of lives.
In the meantime, former Deputy Governor at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, W.A. Wijewardena, concurs with the Samagi Janabalawege parliamentarian, saying that in comparison with the country's total output of 15 trillion rupees, the calculated loss of 750 billion rupees through the lockdown period can be considered insignificant.
Now, the cost to the economy is that we'll be losing the output by a certain percentage during this period, during which Sri Lanka would be locked down. And as a result, the total loss in the output is a minimal amount because Sri Lanka produces about, say, 15 trillion worth of goods and services. If we look the economy down for, say, 3 weeks' time, the loss in the output would be a very insignificant amount, maybe 5% of that. So as a result, the loss may be simply maybe 750 billion worth of goods and services. So that is totally bearable compared to the value of the lives of the people. So in my opinion, the extension of the lockdown period by another week is fully justified, and probably this may be extended by another 2 weeks time, because the whole world is now hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and Sri Lanka has also been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So unless we remove the fear from the minds of the people about this pandemic, the economy cannot function normally. So as a result, the first we have to attack the enemy number one, and then you have to attack the enemy number two.